And so begins another episode of the Inspired Disorder Podcast. With our hosts, Ray Taylor and Keith Spurlock. Disorder starts now.
Fucking forgot to turn my mic up and forgot to change the goddamn names on the video feed. As usual, another Inspired Disorder podcast goes off without a hitch, except for all the hitches that I let it go off without in time for things.
Way to go, Ray.
Yay.
Thanks, man. Thanks, dude. Appreciate it. Anyway, our guest today is a returning guest of the show.
Two times.
Also the host of the Bigger Picture podcast. Do you name your other podcasts? Do you have different names for your other ones?
No, not as of yet. I mean, the only podcast that I actually speak on is The Bigger Picture, but I Float Radio is a podcast that I just produce.
Okay.
I'm not involved in anything other than the engineering side of that show. But that's the other show I'm involved in right now.
Sweet, dude. Yeah, I think you mentioned that you were going to start it. I don't know if you'd done any episodes last time you were on.
No, not as of yet. I don't think I had started yet. They do one every 2 weeks, so they're 4 episodes in at this point. And
Sweet.
Some really interesting guests, like this Matthew Cross character who did a bunch of TEDx talks on this thing called the Golden Ratio, and
Fucking
it's
love
all
the Golden
about
Ratio.
all kinds of it was a really mind-blowing interview, and hopefully he'll come on my basket at some point because the guy's a competitive marathon runner, and then at the same time is like a consultant for major Wall Street brokerage firms, and he deals with their self-confidence. So he's like a life coach for people who sell stocks and bonds and make up arbitrary numbers and ruin people's lives. He was a really, really strange dude, and been floating since the 1980s. So that was a really, really interesting experience.
That's awesome. How many times have you floated now?
I think I'm closing in on 10 trips in the tank.
Okay.
Somewhere in there.
I just saw, like, maybe a week or two ago, I saw the Vice thing on with Hamilton Morris, I think his name. The guy that does all the psychedelics on the, and he did. It was on the Float Lab, and like it showed when he was on Rogan's thing. They shot some stuff there, and Rogan took him down to his float tank, and then he went and saw a crash. Like, have you guys seen that episode?
I saw. Yeah, Crash did not look like what I expected Crash to look like at all.
Did you see that,
like,
Keith?
Oh
No.
Okay.
No, I didn't see that.
It's pretty good, man. I mean, all Vice's shit is fucking amazing, but yeah, that crash. Like, not exact. I was thinking. Well, what were you thinking? What was your perception? What were you expecting to see?
I was expecting I was expecting somebody to look like they were a home grower of marijuana, like somebody. The stereotypical hippie, long-haired, the American flag bandana, maybe some circular rimmed glasses, talking about peace and love, and talking, spitting back at us John Lilly over and over and over again.
Yeah,
And
he
not
kind of
at all what
seemed
you
like
got.
that mentality, though. Obviously, but he didn't have the long hair. He's older.
No.
He's a little older than I thought, and for some reason, I always thought, especially with the name Crash, I always thought like, and plus just stereotypical what you would think of a friend of Joe Rogan's, just like kind of ripped and like maybe some old tattoos, maybe some barbed wire tattoo on his forearm or something like that. Maybe a few piercings. I don't know. I expected somebody a little bit more, I don't know, a little more extreme.
He looked like a guy who lived. He was definitely a guy who has some life experiences
Yeah.
to tell people about. You could tell just by who he is and how he talked that he had been some places and seen some things.
Yeah, it's cool, man. I have like 2 living social things to go to some place. There's a few places out here. And I got them like last year, and I think they expired sometime at the end of this summer. So I need to fucking do that. But I don't know. I just never think about it. Like the days I have off, I don't really think about. I'm very bad, even though I have like reminders for all kinds of shit, and I schedule all kinds of shit. I seem to always forget like things that I want to do, because most of my shit's just for like business or like to-do lists. Not really, hey, this is something that I would enjoy doing when I have some free time. But
Plus, when you're busy, if you act on your own behalf, at least for me, I get a little worried about being self-indulgent. Like, man, I shouldn't be spending this time on myself to drive all the way down there and spend an hour and a half in the tank and then drive all the way back. I've got shit to do, important grown up, supposedly,
Yeah, quote unquote.
quote unquote grown up shit to do. Exactly. And,
Yeah.
and spending time to go lay in a tank full of salty water 3 hours out of your day could be deemed, not productive. But
Yeah, I don't have that long of a drive, but still, same mentality. It's just like I like taking vacations. For me, it's been I can't even remember the last vacation I was on that I just didn't do anything, that I actually relaxed and just kind of actually was on a vacation. Usually, I'll take time off of work to work on a project. Like, I need some extra time so I can get this website done, and I'll take time off, but I rarely put time, and even when I do, I try. It's like, okay, I'm going to take the day off. I still end up working on shit, either on my phone or like I end up, I don't know. I feel like shit if I'm not productive.
we're compulsive. We compulsively work.
Yeah, yeah.
There's a segment of society that we can't not be doing something. To just stop and be still for a minute, it's really hard to do, especially in
Yeah.
our culture, especially being surrounded by all this technology.
Keith.
See, and
much
I'm the exact
Yeah, it's like,
opposite,
Keith,
where
teach me, Keith.
I
teach
can
me.
sit and relax,
Yeah.
not do a thing for multiple hours of the day. I don't have any kids. Work a bunch of different part-time jobs. I'm a comic. I drink beer. I smoke weed. I tell jokes. I tell dick jokes.
God,
Like,
you got
so
a tough life.
yeah, it's a rough life.
I know.
But I mean, even working this weekend though, I worked a music festival, the bluegrass festival I was telling you guys about before we started, and that was fun. Even though I worked for 4 days straight,
What were the?
and I really only made $200, but I got into a festival for free. I got to meet a shitload of people that I wouldn't have met before. I did, a bunch of different like networking and talking to the other vendors. And actually, one of the guys right next to our vending station, they sold T-shirts. He's out of West Virginia, and I bought this from him. It says "Guerrilla Tactics will eventually work,"
That's cool.
but his clothing line's called Johnny Huckster. So everyone check that out. But yeah, after just talking and stuff, he had a lot of cool designs, and I bought a few things from him, and actually told him I'd get a picture on stage doing stand up with that, whether or not it's during my set or I just go up on stage and get my picture taken. I told him I'd rep his shit, and then he said some stuff about we both talked about him. I go, maybe I'll be your first comic that you sponsor. I'd wear their shit all the time just to sponsor a good dude that I met.
Yeah. That's cool. So is that what you were like? Is that what were you trying to get like free shirts? Like, hey man, like give me some shirts and I'll wear them on stage.
I didn't even get a shirt. I just got a couple of these, and they're half bandanas. I've never actually seen this before.
For the
it's just
people
the
that don't
triangle.
know how to fold.
It's just the triangle. It's not an actual square.
Yeah, it's like those shorts that were around kind of early 2000s where it was like boxer shorts sewn into pants so it looks like you're sagging, but you don't have to you don't have to worry about like the logistics of like
That
sagging
never made
pants.
it to Ohio.
Yeah, I actually saw it in a movie, so I just assume they're real. I don't remember the movie though, but so it doesn't matter. I swear.
I've
don't
seen
get me
seen
wrong.
hoodies sewn into T-shirts. I've seen that
Oh, yeah.
before. I've never seen a pair of boxer shorts sewn into jeans, so it looks like your pants are falling off your ass.
I saw jeans tucked into socks
I've seen
when
that.
I was in the Atlanta airport. A bunch of like young emo skater kids had their jeans tucked into their socks, and I didn't understand that.
I know a lot of people do that if they like ride bikes.
No, this is
bicycles.
the airport, and this was their style.
Yeah, well, maybe they're trying to like rep like I ride a bicycle. I'm a messenger. I'm a bike messenger, bro. I'm
These
cool.
kids
I'm
were like
alternative.
15, so they ride a bicycle because they have to ride a bicycle.
Okay, maybe we're just out of touch, man. We don't know what the kids are doing these days. What are the kids doing?
Well, I mean, I started dressing in skate clothes, buying shit out of California Cheapskates magazines as a kid, wearing independent shirts and Alien Workshop shit like that.
Yeah,
And and growing up in a village in Northwest Ohio, not everyone is accepting of different styles of clothes.
No.
Because like they were the huge pants back then,
Yeah.
like Jinkos and all the rest of that, all the huge pipe legs, which a decent wider leg pant is still my most comfortable.
Absolutely.
It sucks that all the fashion's changed, and people like for Christmas and shit, I've been bought jeans, and it's always like, wow, how did they design this to be less comfortable on my balls? Because it's really riding up.
You're not buying Wranglers with that custom-made U
The U
that they're advertising now.
Oh,
I see it. I go to a gym where they have commercials on, or channels on, that are playing Wrangler commercials. So even that kind of makes me stop and think for a second. But then all of these Wrangler commercials are always some dude either chasing a dog with a Frisbee or riding a horse somewhere. And then they cut to this jeans with the U cut in it. Like this U drawing in it. And then it's back to like Brett Favre throwing football, Wrangler jeans.
Or Dale Earnhardt Jr.
Yep. Or both of them. They're like ribbing on each other.
Man, makes me want to. I haven't even seen the commercials. I still want to go buy some jeans now. My favorite, and it makes me feel old, I think, to say this, but I got a pair of jeans, and like my last pair of jeans that I got, because they were like super cheap, and I don't really give a shit. And I got them, and then I go to put them on. Like after I had already bought them, I didn't try them on or anything. Go to put them on the next day, and they're fucking the stretchy jeans. I'm like, oh fuck, this is like so, like these. I must have accidentally got like old people clothes or something. And they're
women's
not like
clothes. You were shopping in the women's section.
Probably, yeah. But they are fucking the most comfortable pants I have. Jeans, like get the fuck out of here. These are the most comfortable jeans I've ever had. And of course, they were sold out of my size when I went to go buy more because, goddamn, I love being comfortable in some pants. But yeah, they don't.
The soccer moms bought up all of those.
Yeah, they look like normal jeans. They don't look like
Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
I have sisters.
Okay, thanks. So when you just like, hey, I know a guy that is into your shit, and
Every time I get home, if I'm working or something, I walk in the door and instantly rip jeans off, and then go for like my Adidas workout pants or something, or some shorts.
Yeah,
just the lingerie. Comfortable pants at home at all times. I don't give a fuck who's coming over.
Yeah, no, I try to be as comfortable as possible, and I don't really give a shit. Like I'm not the best at. I mean, I can clean up, but I don't clean up like hardly ever. So, like I'll go out with my hair looking like shit. Like the only reason I do a lot of shit is just because I work somewhere where I have to look halfway presentable. So, if I didn't have that, then who knows what I'd be looking like right now. I probably smell okay, but I'd look like I smell, which I probably do anyway. But yeah, I don't know. Stretchy jeans, look for them. I highly recommend them. Inspired
in the
Retro.
as seen on TV department at your local CVS.
There
All
you
you
go.
ladies out there, Ray
Hey man,
highly recommends the stretchy jeans.
I mean they're not like the skin tight like tights that are made to look like jeans. They're like actually jeans that aren't like like hugging my legs. They just hug my cock nicely, and that's why, because my cock needs some love too. So,
You're shopping in the maternity ward, dude. Just admit it.
You bought pajama jeans.
Yeah. Yes. That's why you bought pajama jeans.
I wish I had bought. I may actually try those out at some point. I had thought about it, even getting the Forever Lazy too, when your mom's house people, Christina and Tom, were talking about them. Like I was tempted. I'm sold on shit. I can't be sold anymore because I just don't have any money to buy cool shit like stretchy pants or Forever Lazies. But I was like so close to just ordering a Forever Lazy on Amazon. Didn't do it though. So it's okay, guys. I have a little bit of dignity left. I think a little bit, just a little bit.
I can see your Forever Lazy peeking out from behind the black curtain.
Shut the fuck up.
From behind the green door.
Yeah. Keith, why don't you just put the lotion and toilet paper away, and I don't know, that's all I got. That's my comeback.
That was horrible.
I have a Forever Lazy. Keith masturbates.
You masturbator.
He's a grown adult. He's a grown adult male, and he masturbates.
He touches himself when no one's around.
Yeah.
Or with the computer on pretending no one's around.
Or that's why he's not talking on the podcast, because he slightly can't multitask.
Oh, shit.
We just finished.
That's why the crotch is not in the shot. Because
Yeah.
I'm actually just jerking off most of the podcast anyway.
Yeah, me too. Yeah. Well, what else are you going to do while you're doing a 2-hour podcast,
Welcome to the podcast, sir.
Yeah. That's why we use Skype.
Everybody put your hands on the table.
Yeah.
You have to make your hands visible at all times.
No, I can't do that because I can't jerk off and with my hands on the table anymore. I can't do that anymore. I'm not wearing my stretchy pants. So, yeah, enough of
You just derailed this shit.
Clothing.
Ray's
That's what I
like,
do.
hey, I wear some.
Hey guys, you
Your ass
want to hear
women's
something
pants.
embarrassing about my wardrobe selection?
This
Whatever.
one time I bought some women's jeans, and I tell you what, they're comfy.
See, Keith has bought. Wait, never mind. Shut up, Keith. So, Bluegrass Festival you went to 4
Yeah.
days, 5 days.
It's actually 3 days, but since we were vending, we got there the night before it
Yeah.
actually started, so we could set up the trailer, set up our campsite.
What's the
It was
name?
in Scotttown, Ohio. It's called the Appalachian Uprising Festival.
What was
it's a
the
good
name of
time.
that band again?
What's that?
Iron Horse.
Iron Horse.
Okay, let's see if I can find it. That's cool, man. How long? You've done that before, right?
Yeah, we did the same festival last year, so I ran into a bunch of people I had met there last year. A few weird meetings, like I met 2 different couples who came from towns that I had lived in at one point in my life. And they're like, "Oh, where are you guys from?" I said, "Findlay, Ohio." They're like, "Oh, we're from here." And I was like, "Yeah, I used to live there." And they're all like, "What?"
Why would you move?
I ran into a it was a decent crowd, but it was a bad, like, none of the vendors did that well. I don't know, it was weird. It's a weird mix of rednecks and hippies.
Yeah. Well, bluegrass.
Yeah.
That's what I would assume the audience or for bluegrass would be.
Well, a lot of what the hippies listen to, they kind of considered newgrass
Ooh.
is the name for it.
Yeah. The new
And
blue.
And then there's the traditional bluegrass.
Now, can you tell the difference?
Yeah.
Which are you fan more so of?
I'm probably more of a fan of the newgrass than the just good old traditional bluegrass because it's real jazzy, but still in a real bluegrass style.
Okay. What song from that Iron Horse? I just pulled them up. What do you want to listen to? We got Float On, Unforgiven.
Float On's a good one to play on.
Okay,
Here.
let's do that. Just to get an idea.
I backed my car into a cop car the other day. Well, he just drove off, sometimes life's okay. I ran my mouth off a bit too much, so what can I say? Well, you just laughed it off, it's all okay.
It's pretty cool, man.
Yeah.
It's really interesting.
Yeah. All right.
They've got a whole album like Fade to Bluegrass instead of Fade to Black. They do like a whole AC/DC cover. They do a shitload of Metallica covers.
Yeah.
They do a shit. But here's the best part: if you pull up like an actual video of what they look like, they're all like 45 to 50-year-old teacher-looking guys playing mandolins and stand-up basses, playing covers of all those crazy songs.
That's cool.
That's awesome.
Yeah, there's a bunch of their stuff is on Spotify for anybody listening if they're interested. Like, I forgot what Float On sounded like until he started singing. Like, oh, that's the song, because it
Right.
does sound quite
yeah,
different.
you cut it off right before you hit the chorus.
Oh,
We'll
figures.
all float on, okay.
I'll fix that.
Oh shit.
Yeah. Hopefully.
And we'll all float on okay. We'll all float on okay. We'll all float on okay. We'll all float on anyway.
That's sick.
Yeah,
I like it. You're gonna have to listen to that.
a few other recommendations.
Mm-hmm.
Carolina Chocolate Drops. It's a 3-piece bluegrass band from obviously Carolina, but they're all black. I've never seen an all black bluegrass band at any of the festivals I've been to.
Somebody posted, I think it was Izzy, probably Justin. There's another Vice thing about this band, like this heavy metal band. who it's like a bunch of kids, a bunch of black kids. I think I saw one of their like just on Reddit randomly before I even knew anything about it. And I still don't know because I haven't watched that Vice video yet. But they were like out playing on the street and they were doing like, I think the video is called like Epic Breakdown or something like that. And it was, you know, serious. And they're like, you know, little kids. Just seeing little kids play, just little kids playing fucking anything is amazing. But
have you seen I gotta get this out before I forget.
It's okay.
That 14-year-old girl playing Eruption by Eddie Van Halen. Have you seen that video yet?
No, I have not
Maybe.
seen that.
I think I may have.
Oh my fucking God. I tweeted it out as soon as I found it. As soon as I saw it on Twitter, I retweeted it and then sent it out as its own link. But yeah, if you YouTube it, 14-year-old girl plays Eruption, and she shreds it. It completely blew my mind. I'm surprised more people who are into rock music or even just learning how to play a fucking instrument aren't going crazy over that. Because it's insane. She hits it note for note. Tone's a little different, but note for note, it's exact.
Let's see if this is it. We'll see.
And you don't need to see it to hear it.
I can't do that. Shit. Well, that doesn't translate very well.
You know how much foot pedal
Yeah.
and whammy bar actions in that song?
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
And
I think I did see this, and yeah, she's like,
She's amazing. And like she looks like Grumpy Cat. Like she's got that look on her face where she's just like,
yeah,
I
she
hate
looks like
life.
an emo kid.
yeah, I hate life. And meanwhile, she's tapping the fretboard,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
making people's minds melt. It's a great video. I love seeing shit like that. I
Yeah.
love seeing kids do things that I can't do at 31, let alone if I had 20 years of practice. And here's this 14-year-old girl
Yeah,
bored.
That's-
Dad, I don't want to be taped doing this again. Come on, the guys at work will love it.
yeah. She's like, okay.
Right.
I was like, fuck, can I please go watch a movie with my friends, Dad? Fuck. I swear I didn't smoke
I
all
gotta
that
live
weed.
vicariously through you. Damn it.
Yeah, that's when I started feeling old. Like when athletes were younger than me. Like when there was the majority of athletes were like younger than me.
We're at retirement age. All of us.
Oh,
are
yeah,
getting
no,
close to,
that's
like,
the good
most
thing.
Average professional athletes are out before our age.
Oh yeah. That's the one amazing thing about Randy Couture. Like
Yeah.
it's like, okay, he made it until like his early 40s, I think.
He
or
didn't
40.
start till his late 30s.
Yeah, so you
So
know,
it's like-
in some magical fairyland, if I really focused, like I could probably get a concussion or two in a fight at some point, and like be somewhat related to Randy Couture.
Just take
That
the
did
right
not
pills.
make any sense.
I'm not here for logic purposes, Keith. I'm here to shuffle the deck of
I've got
knowledge.
plenty of concussions, and it doesn't make me feel any closer to Randy.
Well,
And a lot of them have came out of fights.
clearly somebody was doing something wrong.
Yeah, me.
Yeah.
Getting hit in the head real hard.
Yeah. Dirty boxing, press him up against the cage, okay? Do you not know?
Don't get hit by the guy you don't see.
Yeah.
Don't
do
block
that.
punches with your face.
Yeah.
That's a rule.
Horrible.
Don't get sucker punched outside of the bar.
Yeah. Yeah, don't.
Uh,
None of those things. Like, seriously, you should listen to your own advice, Keith, because clearly you made some mistakes in your life. And,
as we all have.
yeah. Well, anyway. Yeah, the fucking kids, man. Kids that make me feel old. I don't know.
I saw a 7-year-old kid the other day wearing a pair of Adidas shell toes and didn't have the laces in them. And I made a reference to Run DMC, and the kid was like, who?
Yeah.
And a part of me died. I just felt a part of me die, and that part was like holding on to the Ninja Turtles, hoping that Michael Bay didn't turn them to space aliens.
Yeah.
And
Which
that
is
part
not
of me
now.
died too. Yeah, because the fans got all pissed off. That's
Good.
the great part about the internet. You got to keep the nerds happy.
Yeah. I think Ninja Turtles are still relevant to kids. I think, like, you talk Never Ending Story, they're like, Goonies, they'll probably know just because it's so popular. Like, that's the one everybody knows about, and a lot of people just like it just because they happen to remember that from their childhood. They don't happen to really know that. It's like, you know, bandwagon. I'm a Goonie. I love Goonies. Like hot chicks who love Star Wars. But Never Ending Story, Yeah, you're not going to see that. Never really caught on. It's not really like pop culture. You know, real. You don't
Everyone
see.
our age knows the Never-Ending Story, though.
I know, but that would be
Right.
the thing. Like you can't go up to like most people know Goonies, even though that was our movie,
Yeah.
our generation. But they just know. I mean, you could buy Goonies shirts at Target still. You can't. I haven't seen any. I haven't been to Hot Topic in a while, but I would assume they might have some Never-Ending Story gear.
I
But-
still remember the theme song.
Oh, I just
The
watched the movie.
Never-Ending Story. Da 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 da. The Never-Ending Story. That shit was the bomb.
Yeah.
Love that shit.
Falcor! Yeah, dude, I love that movie. I just watched that movie not that long ago because I'm a fucking adult.
Atreyu!
Yeah. Don't let him get you, Artex. Don't let the
jeez.
swamp of despair get you. Where the fuck it was called. Yeah, I love that movie. Kids listening to this, if you don't know what the fuck we're talking about, go on Netflix. I believe it's on Netflix. If not, go somewhere and watch that fucking movie. Get edumacated.
You know, another good one from when we were kids that no one knows about anymore is Enemy Mine.
I don't know that. I mean, I know that
No.
one, but I don't remember.
It's Dennis Quaid and Louis Gossett Jr., and it's like a sci-fi space thing. And Louis Gossett Jr. plays an alien called a Drac. And, like, they both get
Oh.
shipwrecked on this planet because they're fighting in space, and then they have
Yep.
to learn how to live together.
Yep.
And then Louis Gossett Jr. in their alien race, the male gets pregnant, not by sex, but just at his time. So he has the baby. He dies having the baby. Then the guy has to raise the baby. The
Fuck that
Earthling.
story. That's a shitty
Yeah,
story.
it's a good movie. If you haven't seen it, I highly recommend it, especially for like really early '80s, really good special effects.
Those
Like when sci-fi was sci-fi.
you can't like say early '80s and good special
Really?
effects in the same sentence.
I did.
You just
I
fucked my
said it.
brain up.
I'm sticking by. I thought the fucking original Star Wars had great effects. You just got to think of it as in that time. I hate the fucking
Oh, yeah.
new releases.
Yeah, I don't know, man. I just saw. What did I just see? I think I just saw something.
Everyone hates George Lucas, which is
Oh,
a great
yeah.
documentary.
Oh yeah. I saw fucking Life of Pi. I didn't go see it in theaters. I rented it, which I probably would have enjoyed it a lot more in like 3D, because on Blu-ray on my TV it looks like you can see all the fucking digital. Like nothing looks real.
Right.
It looks gorgeous. Like a lot of the scenes in there are fucking gorgeous, but I mean, it's so much cartoony. But I bet if I was in a 3D environment where it's harder to pay attention to that shit, it probably would have been awesome, because you could tell they played a lot with the camera, like depth of the camera. But yeah, now everything's gotten a lot better, but it's still, they're just not integrating it as good as they should be able to. Or,
Right.
You know, I don't know.
Like you could take today's modern special effects and add it to a movie like Willow and
Oh,
remake
Jesus.
Willow, and it'd be thousands of times better, but you still have to keep the live action sequences and the explodable sets, and you can't digitize everything. You still need actors and stuntmen and buckets of fake blood,
Unless
The
you're
more-
George Lucas.
unless you're George Lucas.
And you can take an Academy Award-winning special effects movie and completely replace all the special effects that won a goddamn Academy Award.
Yeah.
And
yeah.
not release any of the originals anymore.
Yeah, good luck finding original. Hopefully that's something Disney will do, since they own. I don't know if they can do that. I don't know if they own the rights to do that, but now that Disney owns it.
Lucas Camp says that the originals were destroyed or like permanently altered when they changed them, even though that's bullshit because they had to digitize it.
Yeah, they probably have the actual film stock.
They've got
somewhere.
to. It's not like they were cutting the fucking film and adding in the new digital sequences.
That'd piss me off, man. That's one thing that I would love to see, is like a remake of Neverending Story done by, Peter Jackson or something. Somebody that's good with like crazy like fantasy-full type things. That
Guillermo
would
del
be-
Toro
Oh, that would be
doing Never-Ending Story. That would
holy
be absolutely
shit. Yeah.
amazing.
Fuck watching Ninja Turtle reboot. Like, I
Right.
love the Ninja Turtles, and those movies are fucking amazing. Go Ninja, go Ninja, go. Get the fuck out of here. But the fucking remake of Neverending Story with like a good special effects director, because they blend that, Guillermo and Peter Jackson blend technology and film very well. At least I think so.
I thought The Hobbit was a really good movie, and I know a lot of people didn't like that.
I still haven't watched it. It's just I know it's long, and it's probably
It
gonna
was
be
long.
slow.
I liked it though. I felt like it went by fast.
I need
Yeah,
to
so did
just
I.
get it. I just
I was
like
on
I know
mushrooms,
it's long. Well, maybe I need mushrooms, and I'll be able to. It'll be a lot easier for me to get through it. Probably not.
It was terrific on mushrooms. I was enthralled. But I had read the book when I was a kid.
What?
Steel Magnolias is terrific on mushrooms. Let's be honest though.
Nice.
Okay, now.
I cry every time Julia Roberts dies.
Does she die in that movie? I don't even know if I've seen.
She got
Steel
diabetes
Magnolias.
and shit.
She got diabetes and died. Julia Roberts got diabetes?
She had it.
Not
she
type
had-
2.
Okay, that was before type 2 was really a thing.
She ate a shit ton of candy and got
Yeah, it's like
diabetes.
Julia
got
Roberts, she
diabetes and
gained
di-
50 pounds. Like, you didn't see that's the best Julia Roberts role ever. Fuck Mystic Pizza. Get fucking Steel Magnolias. She's the Tom
Get her
Hanks.
some orange juice. Get her some juice right now.
Fuck, fuck Castaway, Tom Hanks. Fuck that shit. Julia Roberts, all right? Steel Magnolias. Talk about some dedication to her art. Well, maybe I need to rent that one. Get some mushrooms.
You haven't seen Steel Magnolias?
I don't remember. I probably have, but I don't remember
It's
it.
an old school chick flick, but
I probably
I
watched
like
it.
that movie
I
back
mean,
when it came out.
yeah.
It's a decent movie.
I was raised by a woman, so I'm sure I've seen a lot of chick flicks.
So you were
I
watching
just
Beaches
blocked out.
every other day.
Probably. I don't know. I don't like to talk about things like that, but whatever.
A hell of a lot of stopper my mom will shoot.
Okay, well that's not a chick flick. It's just that's high quality entertainment right there. With
Throw Mama
Sylvester
from the
Stallone.
Train.
Yeah, okay. Now you're talking about good movies. You can't just mix in good movies with chick flicks. Neither of those are chick. Romancing the Stone, chick flick kind of, but also manly because it's action. Do you remember that movie?
Yes, Michael Douglas and
Yeah.
Danny DeVito and what's the chick's name?
I don't know, but I used to have a huge.
She got the
crush
real
on her.
deep voice.
Yeah, I
Glenn
used to.
Close.
She had a dick and really deep voice. She's so hot. Yeah. Anyway, enough about my fantasies.
So, and any other movies anyone's seen? This is like a movie podcast.
I know. Well, we're touching on just every topic. with
Bluegrass movies.
bluegrass movies, stretchy pants. Yeah, movies. I was gonna go see. There's that new magic movie where they like steal money from banks.
Magic Mike.
No, not this. It's in theaters, and it has nothing to do with male strippers. I don't want to hear about movies you love, Keith. I want to hear about movies that I didn't even go see.
That again, you're losing me on every one of these. You're throwing it out, and I'm like,
I just waited.
Yeah,
just
no,
need
it looks
to
cool
just-
though. It's got the kid from The Social Network, I think, and it's got
Yeah, I've seen the
Woody Harrelson.
I think I've seen the previews for that.
yeah, it looks pretty good. Like that and Star Trek look good. I do
I
not.
saw Iron Man 3, and I thought that was good.
I still haven't seen the second one yet.
Yeah, I haven't seen many of the comic book movies. I did manage to see Avengers, but
That's
I haven't
good.
seen many of the other one-offs
Yeah,
that went into it beforehand.
I
I've seen
caught up
everyone.
on the superhero movies that were in the Avengers, so I could go see it. Except for Iron Man 2, I didn't see that one, but I saw all the other ones. I saw Iron Man 1. Avengers was awesome, but yeah, I'm kind of a little tired of the comic book stuff.
I'm not, man. I'm really into
Yeah.
that one. That's one of the movie genres that I really like. Like I've seen them
Yeah.
all, except I haven't seen X-Men First Class.
Yeah, I didn't like any of the X-Men movies. None. So, yeah.
I liked them just because it was a part of my like the Fox cartoon
Yeah.
X-Men. Like I didn't really read comic books as much as like I collected comic book cards. I
I don't even
also
remember comic book cards.
Marvel had a few runs of comic book cards back in the day. So me and some buddies of mine collected all of those, and it had their stats and their backstory on the back of the card and shit. So it was cool. You got to learn about all the superheroes that you never read the comic books for.
Yeah, that's cool, I guess.
But No, it's not.
I was
mean,
never
it's-
into comic books growing up. That was one thing.
It's nerdy. Neither was
Yeah.
I, really. I mean, a few
Well,
times.
yeah, wait. Except for reading a bunch of comic books, collecting
No, I
comic book
didn't
cards.
really read the comic books. Like I said, I would watch the cartoons, and then I would collect the cards.
But you're still into the stories of the comic books.
Yeah.
Yeah, like I wasn't. I don't know. I'm just saying that you're nerdier than me in this instance. This is so. It's like
I'm all right with that.
yeah, I know. It's like it makes you cooler, and I'm still here wearing stretchy pants.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're like, I like technology.
I like computers, and I like calculators. I like the TI-85. I love math. And I always help the teacher clean up after class because they have a hard job and I have a crush on my
Do you want me to
teacher.
clap the erasers for you?
Yeah, we had marker boards, okay? We didn't have chalkboards.
Wow.
Yeah.
Oh, Jesus, high tech.
Yeah, man. I actually think the school I went to, La Quinta High School, I was the second class to graduate because it was a new school. So I think the year before me was like the first graduating class. It wasn't a really tiny school,
La
but
Quinta.
La
Yeah,
Quinta.
we've got a La Quinta Inn up
Yeah.
here.
Yeah.
Same thing. That's actually it was.
You went there for high school?
Yeah, they have. You know how like Subway has Subway University. Well, La Quinta has their high school program for people that stay in their motels and want to get educated. They didn't have chalkboards; they had marker boards, and it was a new program. I was the second class to graduate. And I got a free instead of a cap and gown, I got a robe and some soap. So threw the soap in the air and then walked out with my robe on.
I went to the same high school that my great grandma did.
Ooh, that's weird. I don't know why that's weird, but that's just
And the town I grew up in just passed a thing this year to put up a new school.
Huh.
So
well, that
there's
just
an
means it's
extra
growing.
13 years past when I graduated, or 14 years, that all these kids that weren't even in school when I graduated have graduated through.
Yeah, that's just because there's been 14 years of heavy fucking in your area, and now they have to okay, we've got too many kids, and none of them have left, so we got to.
It's not even too many. More people have left the town. It's just that building is obviously built in 1903 or whatever.
Okay.
Not really the best for technology and different shit like that.
Well, yeah, I guess.
And the gym sucked.
Yeah, it's like
Well, there you go. Fuck it. Tear it down. It's done.
gym sucked. It was a
rip it
fucking
down.
barn.
I can't do my squats.
We were
Can't do my
flipping
squats. Tear it down.
hay bales for PE.
I will say that every year for prom, at least 5 kids drove their tractors to prom.
Well, that's good. That's good.
Towing their dates.
Yeah, pretty much.
It was a float. The floats just ended up going right to wherever the dance was, and they just all got off the float, and they're like, "Let's dance, let's boogie."
That's boogie.
I don't
Did
know.
anyone else have to do square dancing in gym class?
Yeah.
Yep.
We had like a dance section, so it was like swing and square dance,
We
line
didn't
dancing.
have swing.
No.
It was just square dance.
Well, swing was big, and like Keith knows, I was into swing for a small amount of time.
So you swing?
I did not dance. I don't remember. I don't know. I did dance.
So you're a swinger.
Well, yeah. I mean, I'm not just talking about dancing. But yeah, if I was married, I'd definitely swap wives. Okay.
Just
Okay.
let that linger out
Yeah.
there for you.
Yeah.
Let that disappear into the ether.
It's like it's not technology that's fucking this podcast up. It's clearly me. I'm sweating a lot right now. I hope it's
Conclusion.
it's really hot in this closet. That's why I'm sweating. It's not just because I'm.
I'll give you a chance
All
to
these
redeem yourself because
skeletons
I'm going to
like
get a beer.
Oh, thanks. That's gonna help me redeem myself.
Yeah, no.
Yeah.
Keep continuing. I'll make sure to play this next time when I re-listen to this.
Jesus Christ. Yeah. This is Keith's funniest episode to listen to again and again. So how is the podcast production going? You just doing the Float Lab and your own podcast? I wanted
Yeah, for the time being. I'm only doing my own.
Okay.
I do have talks with some friends of mine and even some local businesses to start other casts, but nothing is really
Okay. I think you mentioned doing another one the last time you were here, but I may be wrong. I don't know. I thought you had planned to do another one too. So it's all going good. You like doing the float lab? I know I've seen your vines. You shot some vines of you recording the float
Yeah.
pods. What is that called again? Just so
what do you mean?
the podcast that
It's iFloat Radio is the one about the flotation tanks.
uh-huh.
iFloat Spa is the place in Westport, Connecticut, where they actually have the lab itself.
Okay.
And they don't have like how you saw in that Vice documentary where you lay down in them.
Uh-huh.
Like you open a door into this big pod-looking thing and walk inside. Theirs are suites, so you literally open a door into a room that's like 10 feet by 8 feet
Uh-huh.
with the 10 inches of water in it. So you lay down in like an empty bedroom it's essentially just this fiberglass chamber that's
Okay.
set up to, keep the air temperature how it's supposed to be, and it's got the filtration system for the water. But if you're somebody who's skittish or scared of the dark, or for whatever reason you panic and need to stand up, you're not fumbling around and hitting your head on a lid or anything like that. The door's right there, it opens with just a tap, and there's a light right there too, so you can
wow.
completely stand up without issue. So it's
That's
a
cool.
really innovative design, and it's the only float experience I have, but from talking with other people who are more experienced, it's just as good, if not better, than the kind that close down on top of you and you're kind of trapped in a little saltwater coffin.
Yeah, that's one thing that he did mention that I didn't even think of, like certain in that Vice thing, that certain float like containers, like some have more humidity, so like when you're breathing it's a lot more muggy than others. So I would imagine like something that's just a lot bigger would have less, unless like I'm totally thinking it wrong, would have less mugginess.
Yeah, it's not muggy at all. I've never been in an experience. Yeah. I've never had an experience in a float tank where it's muggy. I have made the mistake of trying to keep my eyes open for the duration of a float, and there's so much salt in that water that eventually some of it gets taken up with evaporation, and there is salt kind of floating in the air, and after a while your eyes do start to sting just because the air itself is also so salty. So keeping your eyes closed, at least in my experiences with a float tank, is really important.
Are you familiar? Do you do? I'm sure I asked you this last time you were on, but I forget because I ask a lot of people. Do you do meditation outside of the tank?
No, not so much.
Okay. Yeah, it's. I mean, I would imagine that doing a float tank would be the best way to meditate. I've been getting into which I think was a dude that was on the Bulletproof Guy on Rogan's podcast.
Asprey?
Yeah, Dave Asprey. I think he mentioned it the first time he was on, but he mentioned it again. The binaural beats. Binaural, I think that's what it's called. And they have them on Spotify as well. And I actually was, binaural beats, or binaural sounds, and it's kind of like new agey sounds, but the sounds are at like a frequency that helps, that like gets your brain almost like the little sticky electrode things that he gave Rogan that one time, to like help get your brain to a certain wavelength. But binaural beats is I tried it once, just to help me go to sleep one night, and it kind of reminded me of like new agey music. But today, I've been out of it like crazy the past week, no energy, and then today for whatever reason I woke up on the wrong side of the bed and just pissed off. Probably just because I had to go to work for a full shift, which I'm not. Like I stepped down 2 weeks ago, so I've gotten comfortably used to 5-hour work shifts at my day job. So today I had a longer shift, and Sunday's busy day. Anyway, listening to those all day, fucking like calm, like nothing on my breaks and my lunch. Just listen to that shit, and it was the most soothing. Like I didn't really do any breathing exercises or anything, just listening to that shit, which is kind of weird because it is soothing, but totally fucking zoned me out. And it got to the point, how when you take a nap, I don't know if I would assume this is common, when you take a nap or you wake up and you're about to fall asleep, you wake up or whatever, and your body's like tingly, kind of like it's starting to go to sleep, or just you kind of, your whole body kind of feels like tingly. You guys feel that when you take a nap? Yeah, no.
I don't nap.
But anyway, like I was starting to feel. I mean, I only had like 15-minute breaks or whatever, but I would be like, I'd be so relaxed that my body was like anyway, binaural beats. For people, because I know Izzy and Scott were asking me, and I probably didn't answer their question thoroughly, but that's, I don't know, I'm going to try using it more, but it completely changed my mood, and it's super calming, super like, not calming like puts you to sleep, although you can go to sleep using these things, but I don't know the science of it, but I found it to be like crazy, effective.
So Ray likes meditation.
I do.
You like the float tank.
Which is, yeah.
I just like regular psychedelics.
Yeah, which are all kind of have similar end games, although some more effective than others.
And much faster.
Yeah, I'm probably doing the least effective, hardest to achieve way to do it. And then float tank would be like the next step up, I would assume. And then psychedelics would be a step above that. I don't know. I'm ignorant to how the graduation of those things would go, but whatever. Maybe you should do, Keith, you should go into have you ever thought about doing a freaking isolation tank thing?
I don't live close to anything like that.
Okay, so let's say there was something close to where
if
you
there
are.
was,
Okay.
like, I would try it.
Okay.
I wouldn't not try it.
If you fucking come out, or when you come out to San Diego, we should do that.
There
We
you
could
go.
do that.
There's your living social.
There you
Put
go.
it in your reminders right
It's
now.
two
Bam.
of them. Siri, remind me to bring Keith to
So
the thing.
we'll try the float tank, and then maybe you'll try mushrooms for the first time too.
Not in the float tank, but okay. Well, I
No,
can't say
would
that
be
on air.
The best place to try it.
That
Fuck
would
it. I
be
wanna see
the-
you freak out. Hey, closed in a coffin like that.
Go big or go home.
Wow, motherfucker!
Go big or go home, I guess, right? Just like, and I'm
I enjoyed some mushrooms this weekend.
no.
While at the Bluegrass Festival, how dare you, sir?
Yeah.
I know it was great. I loved it. I got to listen to some guys picking around their campfire. Me and my friend just bullshitting with each other, watching it. And since this festival is right near West Virginia and Kentucky, it's like where they meet Ohio. Moonshine, huge. Like everyone's got a bottle of shine. So, and I hate liquor. Like I don't, but you're just having such a good time. It's just a little swig.
Yeah.
That shit really catches up with you.
And if you mix that shit, I don't know if I've ever had legit moonshine, but like I've had moonshine before, and it smells like, I mean, when you breathe it in, it just burns. It's like rubbing alcohol, like just toned down a little bit.
Most of the shit there is flavored. Like it's
Yeah.
not the white.
You soak it in like, I've seen
It's,
like cherries and apples and shit.
Like what I saw from there was like apple cinnamon, which
Yeah.
they call apple pie.
Yeah, I've seen that shit.
And then I saw some pineapple.
Ooh, that'd be
The
good.
year before I tried, someone handed me the fruit out of one of those, and it was
Yeah.
like a pear slice, and I'd never tried anything like that, and I just thought,
Yeah.
a couple bites, and every chew,
You can't taste the fruit.
No.
every chew was like taking a swig.
Yeah.
So I probably had to chew at least 10 times before I could just swallow.
Yeah,
Ugh.
yeah. That shit.
And-
But when you mix that shit, you can't taste it at
No.
all. Like you mix it with soda or some shit, like, whiskey, you can taste the whiskey in it. This shit, it just like, no, you can't. It just disappears into whatever you're drinking, which is very dangerous. With
I was
hot-
on a training deployment down to Savannah, Georgia, and on the Riverwalk there, they have this place called Wet Willie's where they sell alcohol slushies. That's the only thing they sell. You walk in and it's just a whole wall of all these different flavors with different mixes of alcohol in them.
Mhm.
And the one on the very end is called the Call a Cab, and they limit you to one per customer because it's made with moonshine. It's made with somebody's home brew concoction.
But I thought moonshine was still legal in all states. Like I
You-
think above a certain
Yeah.
alcohol percentage is
I
illegal. I know
think-
Everclear's illegal in Ohio. You have to drive
Really?
to Indiana just to buy Everclear.
Yeah, I think it might depend, but I think I bought like moonshine at a store. So I think it depends on how it's made. Like if it's made under like, and they've signed all the things and it's made under whatever regulations or whatever, you can. I just don't think many people are making moonshine legitimately.
No, well, I mean down there, yes, obviously, but regular people, not a lot of shiners left.
No, unless you're watching fucking, History Channel or whatever. Moonshine Boys, Moonshiners, whatever it's called.
If that's not a TV show, it's gonna be.
No, it is. There's a reality show about
I think it's
guys.
called Shiners or something.
Maybe, yeah. It's a reality show where it's these like I think it's a few families and they're hiding from the cops making moonshine, but it's like clearly it can't be real because they have film crews and they're hiding from cops.
I at least know one guy's real. That Popcorn Sutton's real.
They're real
watched another
people.
Documentary
But
with him in it.
Yeah, but the show, like clearly, if you're a police officer, like you have to have permits to film TV shows. So it's like, if the police like went to check to city council where they got the permits to film these places, they'd be like, and it's hard. It's not that hard to find people hiding in the forest when there's a film crew around you. It's like clearly it's set up in a way. I don't know how they get around everything, but there's an actual reality show.
Yeah.
Called like Moonshiners or Shiners or something like that. But yeah, I don't know. Moonshine, I don't know, man. I like whiskey. I like whiskey. I like hard alcohol, but the moonshine stuff, that's a little bit too much. A little bit too much.
Yeah, I wouldn't be able to do that every day. Like as how people have a beer or 2 or 3 or 9 after work.
Mm-hmm.
Drink a half a jug of moonshine and call it a day.
No.
Every single day.
Christ.
There are people who do that shit.
Yeah.
And they're probably, people who are making it. No, that's the batch for next week.
Yeah.
Don't drink that shit. Save it. We're selling it.
Yeah, the clips I've seen of the show are usually them getting drunk and then like trying to do shit and like falling over. Like, I gotta bring the rice over to the thing, and boom, falls over. But yeah, I mean, you shouldn't. Like any good dealer knows, you don't use your own product. Or something, right?
Nah,
Yeah, unless it's moonshine, though.
Doesn't have to do with weed. Weed, a lot of people that sell marijuana do it so they don't have to buy it, so they can smoke for free. This I know.
Don't get high off your own supply.
Yeah. But it doesn't apply to weed, but
So,
everything.
I don't know. I wouldn't
more
trust a sober moonshiner, though.
No.
I wouldn't trust a moonshiner that had all of his teeth. Like, he has to be missing some teeth for me to trust him. I'm
run
serious.
into a lot of shiners down in Southern California, Ray.
No, I'm just going straight off of that show. It's nobody Southern California moonshining. No, that's
yes, there is.
No, well, probably East County. Actually, you know what? There probably is. But I'd still would not get that from them unless they were missing some teeth, which I would not be surprised if they were missing some teeth. It's not a judgment call. I just think priority-wise, they have other priorities than getting dentures or replacement teeth when you're making moonshine. I just think they have different priorities. They're not like out in public a lot.
Your dental insurance probably isn't too good either when you're making moonshine out of your bathtub.
Guild.
Yeah.
Shiners Guild. It doesn't. Yeah, you at least get a copay with your Shiners Guild card. You at least have to pay that copay.
Oh, those, at least they're able to take care of their shit, with that Shiners card.
I've seen those guys in the parade, the Shiners, where they wear the goofy fez hats.
The Shriners. Yeah.
I know.
Yeah. The little cars. Those are their getaway cars. The government doesn't allow them to drive anything larger because they think they're going to be bootleggers.
They can't. There's no GPS that they can track in those cars.
Yeah, there's no GPS, but they're also not getting away from anybody.
Walk alongside him, sir. Get out of the vehicle. Tapping him on the shoulder, sir. Get out of the vehicle.
It's like, it's like the cops like just walking by him. It's like, you're not getting away from me. I can see your foot's all the way down.
Just puts his foot on the front of the car and it stops.
Yeah,
sir.
This is goddamn ridiculous. If you were wearing a clown outfit,
power down the power wheels right now.
Yeah, he just walks a little bit faster in front of him. He's like, puts his hand out. Stop! Right there. Yeah, I don't know, man. Cops are crazy. They would just like tackle him and beat him They just like run and just like tackle him out of the car and just start beating him. That's what cops would do.
It would lead the nightly news too. Tonight at 6, cop maces 6 Shriners for refusing to get out of their vehicles.
I don't
And
know.
the World Star the next day.
I don't know if cop beating, like when cops beat people, it's not like Rodney King anymore. Like that used to make the news. Now you see like all over the internet. It's like cops
World
beating
Star.
everybody. World Star Hip Hop or Reddit, anywhere. It's like cops beating whoever on YouTube or Live Leak or whatever. You're gonna find a shitload. You don't see any of that shit on the news anymore.
No.
Like they're like Rodney King. They're like, oh shit.
Yeah, they're like, we caused a riot.
Yeah.
We can't talk about cops beating people up.
How much weight has Kardashian gained? That's way more important than, somebody getting beat up by cops. There was one video I saw. It's like this scrawny little black kid in a subway. Like scrawny, like emo hipster dude. And like there's 2 cops and they had him pinned down and they're like, stop resisting. And the kid's like, I'm like not doing, like, I can't do shit. And then next thing you see like 20 fucking cops come in, like just running in to the whole thing. And they're all like, they start fighting
Dropping
over
the
who's
knee.
going to subdue the guy. And they're like,
Yeah.
stop resisting. It's the most ridiculous fucking cop. I don't think they beat him up, but still, it's like, what the fuck? And then like the whole squad, the whole fucking platoon of cops, I don't know what they're called, like runs in, like do, we're gonna get him, we're gonna get the bad guy. Like, what
I will
are
say
you doing?
this: if either of you guys ever been arrested?
No, I've been
No.
stopped by cops and stuff like
All right,
that,
yeah.
and like patted down.
I've been
but-
arrested, and
No.
yeah, I know. You never get beat up if you just fucking do what they say, and it sounds horrible.
Yeah, unless you're
because
black, dude.
It's like a submission thing, like
Yeah.
And I hate authority anyway.
Yeah.
Which is why I could have never joined the military.
Yeah.
Someone screaming in my face, I'm like, God damn it, shut up! And then I
Well,
don't know what happens. Like, what happens when someone just flips out
Oh yeah.
in the
When-
military?
When one of the drill instructors flips out, or when
I'm saying when the drill instructor's screaming in someone's face and they finally just lose it
Oh,
and
yeah.
then tell them to go fuck themselves.
Yeah.
Or
They,
have you never seen that?
I have never personally seen it. I've only heard stories of it happening, and the stories are they are in breach of a federal contract and they get thrown in jail.
No.
That's the story I hear.
My grandpa spent.
I don't know
my
if that
grandpa
actually
told me-
happens or not.
Yeah, my grandpa told me when he was in, and who knows if this is, but he said that his commanding officer got in his face once, and then he fucking knocked him out, and he had to spend the night in the brig or whatever. But after that, it was all, he probably had some disciplinary,
Wait.
but it was just one of those. He lost it. The
Yeah.
guy was in his face, like out of line in his face, and he hit him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know, but this is, again, in the 50s or late 50s, early 60s.
Different. There was a Tom Rhodes bit I was watching on Netflix, like some 420 comedy shows, like Tom Rhodes and Doug Benson and a few other comics. And Tom Rhodes had a bit about when he was in the UK and he was out smoking a joint with a fellow comic in the back, and they had just got done smoking it. They threw it down, squashed it, and then these cops come up with the billy clubs and the crazy hats, and they're like, do you have drugs? Somebody said, you have drugs? And they're like, no. And they're like, can we search you? They're like, yeah. And then clearly they didn't have anything. So after they were done, the cops pulled out a business card, wrote their information on it, handed it to him, was like, here you go. If you have
If
any
you
complaints,
feel you've been harassed.
yeah, if you feel you've been harassed, here, do this. And, so it's like that doesn't happen. Like now you see like almost every cop video or every video you see where it's like something potentially happening, maybe it didn't catch everything, but it's like, they're always like, what's your badge number? What's your thing? It's like cops nobody wants to get in trouble, and nobody ends up, for the most part, it doesn't seem like a lot of people end up getting in trouble when they do shit like that, but I don't know. And then there's like, every once in a while, like every 100th video you see online, there was one I saw where it was like Earth Day or 420 or something, and there was these hippies smoking in a park, and like all these people were like pissed off, complaining to the cops, and the cops are like, they have their permit, they're allowed to be
I
here,
saw
we're not
that
going to
one
do
too.
anything.
That was hilarious.
That was like the one of the few cop videos where it's like they're not being dicks, and it even went to the point where like the guy wanted to talk to the supervisor, and even the supervisor was
came down and then told him, and
he's
the guy
like,
was like,
yeah, we can't do this. They have every right to be there. They whatever. And it was like one of the few times where you saw like cops kind of just being real and taking like situations realistically, and how it's like really not hurting anybody. It's like, okay, few people smoking, even if it's a lot of people smoking weed in a park. It's like, and you don't want your kids, like, well then don't put don't throw your kids into the mix of smoke. Same thing with like cigarettes and shit like that, although cigarettes can actually kill people. So if it's like you don't want to be around somebody outside.
Yeah, I met a cop at the music festival who came up to our booth and ordered some food, and we started talking. He loved bluegrass, and he was like a CSI type guy.
Yeah,
like he would come in for a crime scene. We were talking for a long time, but again, I've met a lot of cops who are totally cool.
Yeah.
Like like maybe they can't smoke weed because of their job, obviously,
or they
but
do,
they've done it,
and they don't talk
and they've
about
done it, and they, just as long as you're not being stupid.
Right.
Being stupid has a lot to do with getting busted. Like Joey Diaz always says, and Joey would know out of, Joey's been arrested more times than any of the other comics, or at least that I follow.
Especially for
and
serious
he always
shit.
he always gets mad when they're like, oh, so and so got busted for this. He's like, because they were being stupid.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
You get busted for being stupid.
Yeah, but then you hear of people that get busted.
It's so few and far between.
No.
You hear it because you're on the internet all
Oh
the
yeah,
time.
yeah, that's true. Yeah, but
Right.
Still, I was just saying
It happens and it's fucked up. But just don't be stupid about it.
Yeah. Oh, I know. It's not like I'm being stupid about anything. Not that I'm doing anything.
I stupidly drank and drove quite a few times. Got away with it a million times.
Yeah.
Didn't twice. That shit's gonna haunt me for the rest of my life.
Yeah. Yeah. No, it's like, I mean, there's advantages and disadvantages to everything. Clearly.
Because I was being stupid.
Yeah.
Alcohol's legal.
Yeah.
But the stupid thing I did after wasn't. So even if you're doing something illegal and you're just smart with it, you're never going to have a problem.
Yeah. Well, hopefully.
Well,
if you're white, you're good.
All right,
if you're a white person,
everything illegal because a lot of people that are smart with heroin still die of heroin overdoses.
That's true. Yeah, there's some drugs where you don't really have a choice.
No. And heroin is one of them.
Yeah. Meth. I know
meth
far
is the
too many
next one.
people that have had problems with heroin and meth. But, yeah.
Anymore, it's just prescription pills around here.
Yeah. Well, I mean, heroin.
Yeah.
Oxycontins.
It was pills for a while in Connecticut, and now it's heroin because all the pills are starting to run dry in the state.
Yeah. That's
They've all made their way down to Stanford and now everywhere else in the state. Yeah.
Well, now they made oxy so you can't crush them up and you can't shoot them up. So everyone went to heroin. And, conspiracy theory or not, ever since we went into Afghanistan, the amount of heroin on the streets
it's huge.
Is fucking...
Yeah.
I don't even 10 times what it ever was before. I mean, at least in small town Ohio.
Well, and that's the thing that happens. It's like, we're going to get you hooked on some shit. Like, and then we're going to change it so it's harder to get hooked on that shit. Like, you get Oxycontins and you're crushing them up and you're doing all kinds of shit to it to basically make it into as close to heroin as possible. You're going to get hooked on that shit like so many people do. And then they change it. So it's like you can't get that same high that you were getting before, but you're still addicted to it. So what's the next best thing? Going to get the real shit. And like, okay, well, if I can't get my fix through the pharmacist, then I'm going to get my fix through the street. And then, then that's a whole other, plethora of problems. Just dealing with dealers on the street, dealing with how you're taking it, whether you're, smoking it or shooting it or snorting it or however it is you're taking it. It's like there's so many different, and who knows what the fuck you're getting. So it goes from something that's like slightly controlled yet still super highly addictive like heroin is in every form that it's in. So, it's like they get people, it's like the first one's free, man. because they know you're going to come back. And, the people that are supplying the heroin to the pharmaceuticals are probably still supplying them to the United States. It's just they don't all have to go through the proper channels. Like, they already got everything going that way. So why not sneak in some of the other shit to, because they have customers. Customers are still going to be there until they die.
But from an outside perspective, it totally looks like, if you just took a look from the outside view of, okay, heroin, there's always been a heroin problem. Yeah. Mostly inner city heroin problem.
Yeah.
Prescription pills started getting heavier and heavier to treat people's pain because everyone's all of a sudden having all this pain. Like you said, they all get addicted to that. They change it up. And then we go into a war that we're sustaining for a multitude of years, but they produce 90% of the heroin or the poppies that make heroin in their country.
Yeah. It's so not all for fucking bagels.
Evidently in control of this country or trying to, but the heroin, it's, if you look at it from an outside perspective, it's like, oh yeah, there's fuckery going on. Like
it's a big dollar shot. It's a big dollar sign shaped stamp of fuckery over the whole operation. Yeah, because the pharmaceutical companies are making money off of the prescription medications that they're getting the American people hooked on, and then the government is getting American tax dollars to now keep the American people who can't get their pills anymore. Now they're going after heroin, and heroin's illegal. So now we're gonna
the money they seize from heroin bust is just more money into the DEA, and it's just a money grab, and it's fucking weird, and I don't like it.
And all the outcome fall onto the American taxpayer who has to pay. Because if you are trying to get yourself off of heroin, chances are you're going through a nonprofit giving you methadone. At least that's the way it works in Connecticut. All of the methadone clinics here in the state are nonprofit organizations.
But methadone is, if you take methadone, you're goddamn taking heroin.
Yeah, they wean you off of it.
Heroin.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Well,
so
they're using heroin to wean you off of heroin.
Yeah.
Yeah, so then you take twice the amount, and then you're addicted to methadone.
Right.
And then you have to wean yourself off of methadone onto something else, and it's just no one's ever going to get better because they don't treat anyone.
Well, yeah,
and even the people in jail,
and even the people that
where you can still get drugs. If this country is really serious about its fucking war on drugs.
No,
but can't keep drugs out of jail.
No. What do you like?
Jail,
clearly,
the place where everyone's strip searched and fuck it. Like if you can't keep hardcore drugs out of jail, then fucking give it up.
Yeah, it's stupid, man. It's like it's this crazy. They know what they're doing. They're like, we're gonna be able to get a lot of money pretending like we give a shit. Like we're gonna pretend like drugs. Well, drugs are bad. Drugs, especially highly addictive drugs like meth or heroin, there are drugs that are bad, but like we're gonna wage a war. We're gonna wage a war on that was like before we went to war with like this terrorist thing. Yeah, like a war on terror, a war on this crazy like vague idea where they call everybody a fucking terrorist that does anything now. So it's like that was their vague idea. It's like we're going to war with drug addicts. Like, and what is a drug addict or what is somebody who's affiliated? It's like they have these like imaginary wars that they go just so they have like, oh, this is what we're doing. See, we're going to war with people that do drugs, even though it's like, alcohol's a drug, pharmaceuticals are drugs, like all these things, anything that like changes who, I don't know what even the definition of a drug would be, but it's like, Alpha Brain could be a drug. New Mood could be a drug.
They're all drugs.
Yeah, it's like where do you classify? Where does
Sugar's
that line?
A fucking drug. Sugar affects your brain chemistry. Caffeine. It's a mild stimulant. It affects your brain chemistry.
Sugar, fucking
Steroids
alcohol.
are good for sick people, but healthy people shouldn't take them.
Well, there's a lot of crazy things that you get prescribed because you're sick. Yet, like marijuana, like doesn't kill anybody. It's more people die from TVs. TVs kill people, literally kill people. There's a thing I saw where it's TVs, and I think I mentioned this before. TVs falling flat screen TVs. Your kid, don't let your kid climb up on the table to grab the remote. Like 5 kids a year die from TVs falling on them. Like, this is fucking ridiculous. Like, plasmas are more dangerous to our society than a fucking plant that's illegal. In pretty much, I mean, federally legal everywhere, and state legal in 2 states, medically legal in a few states. But it's like
16 now.
Yeah, but none of those
crazy.
5 kids were curing cancer, though. Let's be honest.
Exactly. How many of the fucking people smoking weed are curing cancer? Probably
If
a
you
few.
can't take
Probably
a
everybody who's smoking
plasma, if you can't take a plasma screen falling on you, I don't care how big it is,
That's right.
then you were bound to
Yeah.
die somehow.
If a fucking kid,
What kind of pussy was that kid?
yeah, exactly. Some
Jesus.
people need to die. Like the fucking warning label on your hair dryer, don't blow dry your fucking hair in a bathtub. Every person that dies blow drying their hair in a bathtub, we should have a parade of like, this is what not to do, people. Like, you can't like combine everything together to be more productive.
And what kind of parent is putting a 60-inch plasma screen TV on some rickety-ass 3-legged stool that's falling on a toddler?
Who knows? Yeah, it's like, first off, they shouldn't be having kids anyway.
Those 5 kids are lucky.
Yeah.
They probably were saved from a lifetime of pain and degradation, missing their teeth, making moonshine in their bathtubs.
Don't
I
they
honestly
know?
think there needs to be a 10-year moratorium on anyone having kids.
What do you mean?
Just like almost a mini reset, like 10 years of total sterilization of everyone. And then past that, you can just go back to having kids. But I think that'll really reset that mini generation that's really holding everyone back right now.
Maybe. Be
I think
interesting.
driver's license like system should be implemented.
Yeah.
You've now
To
passed.
be able to have kids, yeah,
to be able to have
you
kids.
know.
And make it just as fun as the DMV to get that license. Nobody would have fucking kids.
That's true.
Overpopulation solved.
Yeah, that's what everybody wants. They want the government in charge of how they can fucking make kids.
Make
Do
you
any
go
of
have
us
to get
have
your
kids?
parenting license and your driver's license on your birthday.
You know what's ridiculous is that there's fucking old people on the street that can barely see or move, that drive heavy vehicles and can barely pass tests. I remember one of the last times, it's been forever since I've been to the fucking DMV, this old lady who is like legally blind. They like happen to find out why she's taking her tests. They're like, you can't even see. And she's like, well, I got here. Like, I need to have a license so I can do stuff. It's like, these are the people, those people, old people that can fucking, that get their license and can't fucking drive, but they still drive like tanks down the street. Those people are far more dangerous, I would say, than somebody high driving. Like, if you're high and you're driving, you are way more capable of somebody that's super fucking old that can't even fucking see, let alone move. Like, their reaction time. You want to talk about reaction time. That's the study I want to see. I want to put a fucking, like, a group of old people that still happen to have their licenses against a bunch of people that just happen to get high. Like, I
Versus
guarantee
young,
you.
old people versus young stone people.
Yeah. Well, young stone people will be driving circles around them, for sure.
Oh yeah.
Old people can't even like drive in a. They're like they can't do shit. They drive slow because they can't react. They're like, I need like 10 seconds to be able to turn right. I can't just do that because then I have to like think about, oh, my right arm needs to like move and my left arm like they need
I've
to
got
like transfer
arthritis,
energy.
and I can't really.
It's
So
like
I
a-
have to hook
yeah,
it.
it's
and-
like a spaceship where they have to transfer power from one service to another service to become active because there's just not enough power in their body to like brake and turn and do the signal at the same time. Very dangerous. Those people scare me way more than somebody high smoking. Not that everybody that's high should be driving, but a lot less scared of those people than I am of old people that have their license still.
If you were to set up that driving test, the stoners wouldn't even get in the car. They'd just be like, dude, it's a nice day. Let's just walk. Fuck it. I'm not gonna waste my time
That's
doing
true.
this driver test. I'm just gonna
have
let the old dude drive. I'll just stay inside and watch Battlestar Galactica and relax.
Yeah, I was watching Battlestar Galactica yesterday. And I didn't drive anywhere. Damn it. Yeah, it's maybe you need to get some ambitious stoners. I'm sure they're out there. There's fuck. You know what?
Hey,
if you put that out,
I
if
met
normal,
a shitload of them this weekend.
yeah, if normal put out a thing, they would get enough fucking ambitious stoners to do that test and not just
You
drive.
have no idea how many doctors and lawyers I've
Oh, yeah.
met. The older I get, the more older people that I meet They're like, yeah, I get high.
Well, they grew up
I
with
just
it.
have to be quiet about it. And
Yeah.
you're like,
Right.
again, it goes back to the being stupid thing. And obviously, like part of what I do, like I'm a comedian, so I'm paid to be stupid. So evidently, I can just admit that I do illegal things, or because it's all under the ruse that it's comedy. We do a comedy podcast.
Well, and you're
I
not
do-
losing like a doctor's salary for admitting that
Exactly.
you smoke weed. So you have that to not worry about too.
But you know what? Would you distrust your doctor more if you knew that he smoked weed on his
Fuck no,
office?
I would trust
No,
him more.
I
I would
would-
trust a doctor who smokes weed more than I would somebody who drinks more. Because
Especially if he's a doctor who is involved in some like specialized class of medicine. Like if you found out your cancer doctor
Yeah.
smoked pot, it's like, listen, I'm not supposed to tell you this, but you got to get some hash oil from Canada.
Yeah.
And you take it. Just read Johnny Chong's blogs about how he took it to cure his prostate cancer, and do the exact same thing he did, because there's research coming out now. Because that guy is on the tip
yeah.
of all of
Oh,
the
yeah.
prevalent research, whether it's for or against the medicinal uses of marijuana. That guy would
Changing
know.
your diet and using marijuana everyone knows you can heal yourself.
Yeah. Your body is
Whether
pretty
it's
resilient.
your brain
Yeah.
that does it or it's the actual
What your-
whatever you ingest.
Yeah.
Which is why a lot of people in religions say that, oh, it was a miracle. Because they honestly believe so hard in God.
Yeah. Well,
Their
and there's
brain-
not a
their
lot of
brain
science
fix-
either.
It's in that, no.
Yeah.
But it's just that your brain's so powerful, it can overpower anything.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean,
We just haven't tapped into it.
yeah, with religions, they like to, everything is God's will. Whether it's good, bad, in between, doesn't matter. It's been so many years that they've been around, so they know how to spin any tragedy or good thing into like it was the old bearded dude up in the clouds, man. He fucking knows. It's like, no. Like shit
There's a
happens, man.
collection- Yeah, there's a collection of crutches, leg braces, and other shit at the church that I grew up at in the basement.
Mm-hmm.
Of all these people that say that they came to the church
Oh wow.
and were healed by God
Yeah.
and sent back the braces and or the crutches and or whatever else that was ailing them. But it's not. It's a Catholic church, so it's not faith healing.
Yeah.
But they feel that they've been healed by prayer, and which is really just belief. And if
Yeah.
you believe hard enough that something is going to heal you or that you're healing yourself, like I said, I don't like religion at all,
Yeah, me either.
but I think
Yeah.
that some way it tricks certain people into believing hard enough that,
Yeah.
I prayed so hard my fucking cancer went away.
Yeah. Well, I think with religion, there are good aspects to religion. And
I mean, there are in that case.
but like prayer, like you substitute prayer out for meditation, you're basically doing the same thing. I mean, instead of focusing, like if you're doing a chakra meditation where you're focusing on certain parts of your body, thinking certain things, they represent certain things, or you're a Christian and you're reading passages of the Bible and you're, doing or whatever, like the different types of prayers, Lord's Prayer and all this kind of shit. You're taking time out of your life to focus on one specific thing that you're doing, blocking everything out, and it's a type of meditation. So there are positive things that you can get from meditation, and you can get that from prayer as well, even though they don't call it meditation. And there's other positive things, like you do good things for other people, but there's a whole structure of things. So I think there's aspects to it that are definitely beneficial, and they have different labels to what they're doing. They have their their fancy Jesus labels to it, but I think any organization that gets too big, whether it be a business or a government or a religion, like bullshit's going to happen. The bigger something gets, the more, potential for fuckery. So, and anything can, be that way. It doesn't have to just be religion. Any kind of group that gets big enough can end up having a lot of fucking shitty people, and then the shitty people kind of rise up and kind of are able to stretch what things are. But I think there's positive parts to it, but at the same time, it's like there's a lot of negative.
Well, the God's will aspect is kind of an interesting thing, because if you think about people, we're constantly labeling and comparing and contrasting and trying to make sense of our environment.
Yeah.
Our whole lives is trying to make sense of our environment, whether we understand that we're doing it or not. So the whole God's will thing seems to occur when something happens that we can't label or control or understand.
Yeah.
So there's always an explanation for these things. We just either haven't figured them out yet scientifically, or it's beyond our level of understanding as human beings as we are right now.
Yeah.
So the whole God's will argument to me is kind of like, well, you're kind of throwing your hands up in the air and saying, I have no control over the situation. I can't come up with a plausible explanation. And some people find comfort in the cop-out because they don't have to stress their brain to understand concepts and scenarios and cause and effect relationships, when it's easier for them to just say, it's God's will that this happened. Let me now deal with the after effects of the event.
Yeah. I mean, that's like alcoholics that have, believe in a higher power, and that's just like they give, or, anybody going through addiction recovery or whatever, they like give your problems to the higher power, whatever it may be, and and that's kind of alleviates the pressure from yourself, so you're not I mean, most of what people worry about and what people fucking end up getting into stressful situations or dangerous situations or dangerous habits is because they're constantly trying to deal with things that are outside of their control, or deal with things that are in the future, or deal with things in the past, something that happened to them, and nobody's focusing on what's happening now, what's going on now, being in the moment. And when you're able to give something up to like a higher quote unquote power or whatever it is, then it takes that weight off your shoulder to where you're able to just focus on what you're doing and not have to worry about all these other things.
Right.
And then, people worry about all kinds of shit that they have no fucking control over. And it's just something to do. A lot of people just don't have a lot of shit to do, or their just focus is off. People working shitty jobs that they hate generally will get into like the Kardashians or fucking reality TV. They'll that's the way for them to unplug from the reality they exist in. Rather than if you're following something that you're passionate about or that you give a shit about, then that becomes your focus, and you're not really worried about all these other things that may have, been bogging you down. You don't need to unplug in that same way. You don't need that same, sort of escape that you would if you have this existence where it's, you're plugged into somebody else's machine. So, yeah, I don't know. People are crazy beings, and we have different ways to deal with different things. And sometimes the easiest fix to things is the simplest way, just to okay, my life is a mess. Well, how do I fucking clean up this mess? How do I focus on what's really going on? How do I clear away all the clutter that's going on and forget about it? There's a lot of ways to do that. And for a lot of people, it's a lot easier to go to a church, and, they can guide you through. There's a lot, I mean, how-to books or self-help books. There's a lot of things that are available that just people don't. It's just like an easy default to go to like a religion. It's like is
being raised
old.
Religious. It's I don't know really how to explain it.
Amazing.
It's a community.
That too.
That's what people get out of it.
There's a lot of things people get out of it, and that's definitely a big one, yeah.
Right.
But to me, it was the fact that I could never, because there's so many different religions and so many different beliefs, at a certain point, I just realized that I can't prove what I thought I believed. So I really never felt comfortable being like, okay, this is what I believe in. That means if you believe in anything different, you're wrong. In my eyes, because that's, to so many of those people, that's what they believe in so hard. Yeah. That if you're a different religion, they're just like, fuck you. I mean, it doesn't matter. You're going to hell anyway. Right. Why not blow you up?
Yeah.
Because you don't matter. You're not a part of God's creation, not my God. And that to me was always, it was so off-putting and so more obvious now than maybe when I was a kid. But I mean, I always had trouble with the stories. Like when they tell you all the Bible stories in Catholic school.
Yeah.
I mean, I had so many questions. I was like, well, I'm like, kangaroos can't swim. How the fuck did they get on the ark? They live in Australia. And they're like, well, God's magical. And he teleported the kangaroos. And I'm like, who wrangled up every bug? You know how many different species of bug there are?
Yeah. Well, and like, why didn't they like mention dinosaurs ever? Like these huge fucking things that roam the earth.
No. Certain people will say they did, but they called them by a different name.
Yeah, but how did you get them all on the? Or they just couldn't fit on the ark? So like, yeah, that's why they got extinct. They couldn't all swim.
Yeah,
I don't know. Religion is a. I don't know. It's like Saturday morning cartoons.
I'm just more practical. It's if you've got something and you can show me some proof.
It's easy.
That's like,
it's nice. It's good.
When people are talking about science, they're like, yeah, but this person refutes what this person says.
Yeah, but that's the good thing about science is that you can
There's always questioning,
argue, discuss. I mean, it's a constant. That's why there's no for sure thing in science. It's all theory.
Right. No, there are plenty of them, but you have to prove it through, trial and error results.
Yeah, they have like a method, a scientific method,
Right.
to coming up with what the results would be. It's not like they just do shit. It's like there's a method to how they come up with an answer. And
It's
even
not just
then,
a bunch of dudes
shit's
thinking
wrong.
about shit and going, I think this is what happened.
Yeah.
And everyone goes, well, I mean, he's smart. He's a doctor. So this guy knows.
Yeah. Blind faith. There's no blind faith in science. Well, there might be. There probably is.
Certain
But
side.
the blind faith, like if you are
It's
a
not
scientist,
science.
if you are a scientist and you happen to have accidentally have blind faith in this thing, you also know that like if shit changes and it's like proven, then like okay, you need to change what you think. It's like it's not concrete. It's flexible. But whatever, man. It seems like
But
we
I'm
talk
not
a
a
lot
scientist.
about religion on this podcast lately.
Guys have been on a bit of a religion kick.
I guess so.
Hail-
I don't know.
Hail Satan.
Hail Satan, yeah. It's like, but then you'd have to believe in
When
Christian
I told my
faith
mom
to believe in
I
Satan.
didn't believe in God,
Yeah.
she goes, I really think that you believe in the devil because I liked
That's
metal music.
The
and
only
black
other
shirts.
option
That's
is
the only way you
Yeah.
can go.
Yeah, it's
I was like,
It's all
if
black
I
and
don't
white,
believe
man.
if I don't believe in God,
yeah.
what in the fuck would make you think that I believe in the devil?
Yeah. It's like I don't believe in your book,
Where
man.
in logic's sake did you go, well, if he doesn't believe in this, then obviously it's
Yeah.
this.
Yeah, that's a common thing. That's for sure. Anyway, whatever.
I don't believe the first half of your book, but the second half, I
Yeah.
believe every word of it.
I mean, but I'll pick and choose from the first half what I really like.
Yeah. I still need to read.
I mean, the gay thing, definitely. Fuck those gays.
yeah.
But the stoning your
just not
child
natural.
to death for disrespecting you? I don't know about that. The beating your slaves and owning slaves? Maybe not. But the gay shit, fucking gays.
Yeah. Well, sometimes
I got a tattoo that says Leviticus. Gays suck. Even though the second line right
Literally.
after that is, don't get a fucking tattoo.
Yeah.
You're going to hell.
Yeah, it's
I'm
pick and choose.
paraphrasing.
Yeah.
It's in Hebrew. The tattoo's in
Yeah.
Hebrew.
And
Translation.
clearly, only the tattoo artist knew Hebrew, so hopefully it's spelled right. Yeah. This is great. So what else have you been up to, man?
Oh shit. Honestly, not a hell of a lot. Been doing the podcast. Recently, had a little problem with my esophagus. Had to go to the I had to go to the emergency room because I had digestive erosion in my esophagus.
Now, what is that?
I essentially took supplements with too little water before going to bed.
Okay.
You're supposed to take, 3 of your strombone with a certain amount of water. Well, I didn't take enough water and lay down.
Okay.
Pills didn't make it all the way down. One of them stopped halfway in my esophagus and actually burned the inside of my esophagus. So every time I would swallow food or drink, it felt like I was having a heart attack because the food would have to go by and rub against this burn that was on the inside of
wow.
my esophagus. So it was a 5-hour emergency room trip because they had to do an EKG to make sure I wasn't having a heart attack. They had to do a CAT scan to make sure it wasn't cancer. They had to do a chest x-ray to make sure it wasn't emphysema. They had to take 5 vials of blood because I knew exactly what was wrong with me.
Yeah.
But, you know, they had to run all of their tests anyway.
Yeah.
And they ended up giving me this nasty bubblegum shit that they give to people with ulcers.
So it
And
like
that-
coats it.
Yeah, so it coats it so it can heal.
So
But-
you evidently have insurance then.
I'm a vet, so I went to the Veterans Hospital.
Because I was in the hospital for 5 hours after I flew face first out of my vehicle doing 70 miles an hour.
Only
How many-
5
didn't.
hours?
But I didn't have insurance.
Yeah, but you were only there for 5
Only
hours.
there for 5 hours, yeah. After
Yeah.
that.
I was in
They
the
told my
hospital.
parents I didn't have a concussion.
Well, that's good. Your face was gone, but it's like, don't worry, his brain,
I landed on my face.
his
after
very important,
being
intelligent
thrown from
brain
the
is
vehicle.
okay.
The face isn't the head. He's fine.
Yeah.
It's just because they gave me a scan, and they were like, "Well, you're not hemorrhaging."
Oh, so your brain
Oh.
So
brain wasn't
just
bleeding
because I wasn't internally bleeding in my brain, they were like, "That's not it. You're all right."
Well, clearly they knew you were an academic, and they're like, well, the brain is okay, the face can go. He's still going to be able to teach his class.
He's not making money with that face. We don't
Yeah.
care about that.
Yeah,
Let's
yeah.
move on. The brain's intact. How
That's
many
why I got
thousands of dollars
eyebrow
did that
here.
shit cost?
No shit. How much did that cost?
Oh Jesus! Well,
How
the
many tens
5
of thousands?
hours, they
Oh,
did
shit.
the test, like the test they gave you, but I didn't have insurance, so it was like $5,000.
That's not that bad. Like, I don't know. Well, maybe they just didn't do a lot of tests. I don't know. I had a kidney stone when I was 19. They did like ultrasound, and I was only in there for like an hour. Ended up being, and I didn't have insurance. It was like $3,000 or $4,000.
Wow.
Fucking for a little 2mm kidney stone. Luckily, I haven't had any since. Knock on where the fuck that is. But yeah, that sucked. That was like.
I will
crazy
say this: 2 years before my accident,
Uh-huh.
I had a headache for 2 weeks, but I had really good insurance through my job.
Uh-huh.
They admitted me to the hospital and kept me there for 3 days, pumping me full of morphine the entire time.
Because your fucking insurance company was paying the bill.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's
Yet
different.
I really need fucking help.
Yeah.
And
I just
because-
went through my windshield. Okay. First question. Do you have insurance? No.
No.
Yeah.
All right, you're good.
Yeah.
You're good.
Yeah.
Sign this paper. We'll take
Yeah.
care
So
of
when
you.
anyone ever and I've gotten this argument with a few people, when they start arguing the fact of like this bullshit, like just everyone having
Socialized
medical
healthcare, like
Yes.
healthcare for everybody.
Yeah, and they're like, that's
Yeah.
bullshit. I don't want to pay for. And I'm like, all right.
Anybody that argues that has never
Been
been
through that
ill
situation.
without healthcare. Like they've
Yep.
never, or they've had enough money to where it doesn't matter. Which generally, if you have
bankrupt.
that much money, you have in health
I
insurance.
had to file for bankruptcy because I cannot afford to fucking pay.
It's
And
ridiculous.
they want to
man.
keep sending me bills. I'm like, go suck a dick. Like, I don't own anything. I wrecked the only car I own.
It's like, bring it, bitch. What do you
you
do?
gonna
Take
take?
my face again?
What do you there's nothing literally they can take from me.
Yeah. So why'd you
So,
file for
Me,
bankruptcy?
it's- yeah, I'm like, whatever. Go fuck
Like,
yourself.
well, you can't take everything. I'll just make sure. I hate the calls.
That's why I haven't had a phone in over a year.
Yeah. Fucking.
I
Yeah.
got tired of
One
the
step
bill
at a
collector.
time. You're getting closer to the mountains, making your own moonshine.
Exactly.
No possessions, no home phone.
Make some good money. Just get
And,
a good
and then
internet
just go do
connection.
comedy on the side with an internet connection.
That's
yeah.
all you need, man. Internet connection. We'll be doing this podcast through smoke signals. Which won't
Word.
work. Word. Yeah.
That shit terrifies me. I haven't taken such good care of my teeth since I lost dental insurance. Because having to go to the dentist without dental insurance scares the fuck out of my wallet.
Yeah.
That's one of the most terrifying things I could think. Just laying in a chair having teeth pulled, knowing I'm going to have to pay for it out of pocket later.
Yeah. It's with me. Like, I have good health insurance, but I hate going to the fucking doctor. Like, I wait for shit to like even when I broke my hand, I decided to go back to sleep, and I was like, maybe I'll go, and ended up going. But it's like, I don't like going to the doctor. I haven't been to the doctor since I broke my hand. I haven't been to the dentist in a long time. I just don't like going. I just do not. I don't know what it is. I have like a bad bad thing with going to the doctor. I'm stubborn too, so that doesn't help. But yeah. But yeah, definitely taking. I don't know. I do try to take better care of myself to avoid having to go, like precautionary or preventative medicine type of thing. But I hate going to the doctor. Hate it.
It's never a fun experience.
No, because it's always going to cost money.
And they're all bad at small talk. They're all so bad. So, how's your life been going? Are you still with? No, I'm not with her anymore. Yeah. No, my life is completely different in the 2 years that have passed since I saw you last.
Like, wait, is that information in the chart? How do you remember that, motherfucker? Like, you have a lot of patience. Why do you know my personal life?
Oh, it's right here because you refused your HIV test last time, and then you told me about your sexual history, so I put questionable here in the notes.
Yeah.
Fuck, man. And then, because of the internet, I just follow you on Facebook and on Instagram and on Twitter. Shit.
I follow your Twitter feed, and I'm got to say that I'm kind of concerned about how you're living your life.
No, they're excited. They're like, fuck yeah.
I know how many sexual partners you told me you had, but judging by your Facebook pictures, you overshot by, 10 or 15.
Yeah. It's like, well, thank you, doctor. I appreciate that. Nobody's ever talked to me so nicely in my entire life. Usually it's the other way.
Now, let me slap on the
I had a doctor get mad at me once. I had a doctor get mad at me because my kneecap was broken.
You are a fucking idiot. How dare you? And you must have been doing way too many blowjobs at the time.
His shitty x-ray machine couldn't see the hairline crack straight through the middle of my kneecap.
How the fuck did you do that?
Yeah, how did you get a perfectly clean break on your knee?
Good story. I was at work.
He was short on money.
I was in the shitter.
Desperate situation.
Oh, no.
And no, I just got out of the shitter, and I grabbed the top bar of the actual stall, and I stretched my back out. Like I leaned forward to arc my back.
You're doing chiropractor.
And as I was stretching my back, I was like, oh, and I just grabbed a hold of it, and I pulled myself up to stretch out my shoulders.
Wait, what was the noise you made again?
Oh.
Yeah, okay.
And then a Republican senator came out of the stall next door.
He was tapping his foot. And
like that means something.
Are we doing men's room stall yoga together? I thought that was Thursdays.
But no, the bar broke mid pull-up.
No.
And snapped, and I fell straight down on my kneecap from about 2.5 feet up.
Ouch.
And I tried to walk it off because I was at work, obviously, and it just felt like it hit real hard. And I was like, this sucks. After like 45 minutes, I really couldn't take it anymore. And I was like, hey, somebody take me to the hospital. And they really, at my factory, didn't do drug tests if you went to the hospital, especially if you worked an off shift. So I was like, fuck it, take me to the hospital. It was right before, like, the urgent care center was going to close. So we got in, like, the last 10 minutes. So the doctor was all pissed off. He's like, fuck. It's like working in a restaurant and someone shows up at closing
spitting
time.
your food. Like, he's like, spitting your medicine. Take this.
So, yeah, he gives me an x-ray, and he's like, you're fine. You got a bruised knee. He goes, keep stretching it. He goes, bend it. Put ice on it. You're fine. I go, what am I going to do? I can't walk. He's like, I guess I'll give you crutches.
You little bitch.
Like, begrudgingly gave me crutches. So I crutched back to the car, get in, go home. And about 3 hours later, I take the ice pack off my knee. And my knee is literally the size of a grapefruit and the same color.
So you cut it open, had some nice vitamin C.
Yeah, I don't like grapefruit. So I just left it. I left it there. And 2 days later, I had to go for a checkup at, like, the doctor's office that's, like, adjacent to it. Mm-hmm. And I went in there, and the doctor goes, I don't want to alarm you, which don't ever start any if you're a doctor, if any doctors listen to this bullshit, don't start any diagnosis with, I don't want to alarm you.
And if there is a doctor that does listen to this bullshit, dude, like, come on. And we'll, like, ask you a bunch of, like, health questions because we want to know if we have cancer or not.
But, yeah, for me, like, when he said that, I was like, oh, Jesus. And he goes, but that's the worst swollen knee I've seen in 15 years of practicing medicine.
I would have passed out. I get
And
queasy at doctor. That's probably why I don't like going. I get
And-
like lightheaded and almost pass out like every time I go to the doctor.
Yeah, I just had the shocked look, and I was like, "What the fuck?" And he goes, "All right, I'm gonna send you over here right now, and you go straight there, and they're gonna drain it." But then they didn't. They took an X-ray, and with their decent X-ray machine that wasn't from the 30s.
Their iPhone X-ray machine.
Yeah, they could actually see that my kneecap was snapped in half.
Like, you're fucked, dude. What the fuck, man?
But yeah, that's another. Having insurance is a great thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not
Moral of the
good
story,
insurance
kids.
comedian.
Get insurance.
Get
Get
insurance.
insurance.
Find a job that has
Get a
decent
job
insurance.
with some benefits somewhere in America. And
That's
get
the thing,
yourself
man.
some insurance.
Even businesses, like health insurance and pretty much every business, I would assume, it's not the same coverage that you would have gotten 10 years ago. Like, it's less and less everywhere you go, and it costs more and more. So it's like, it's not a very good place it's going. So
No. And companies are, insurance companies are making it more expensive for your average business to just insure their employees.
yeah.
Because they know that, companies need to have insurance. You need to have insurance to be in business, and then you need to have insurance for your employees. So you're paying twice over.
Yeah.
Not to mention if you own things, and then you have to have insurance on all that shit. Insurance is a huge racket, all because people can't, you can't trust people to be honest. That's essentially what the insurance business is.
Yeah.
My last job, my insurance went up 100% every year.
Yeah.
I started
cost of
out the cost of it from the original cost. Like, all right, it went from when I started working there was $5 a month for single coverage, 90/10 coverage, which meant they covered 90%, I covered 10. Awesome insurance. Every year past that, it's like I paid $10 for 90/10. I paid $20 for 90/10. Then I paid $30 for 90/10. Then I paid $40 for 90/10. Then I paid $50 for 80/20. So they lowered it, but still raised the price.
Yeah,
And
they
then
changed the percentage.
every year after that, it kept going. Like, by the end of working at that job, I think I was paying like $130 a month
Damn.
for what cost me $5 a month.
Yeah.
I
And
made
you-
less the last year I worked at my job than I did the first year as a temp, making $8 an hour less.
And probably the coverage got worse, too, I bet.
Oh,
Like,
yeah.
there
it
was, you
like I
know-
said, 80/20 to 90/10.
Well, not even that. Just like what they cover. Like they cut out different things that they cover. It's like, oh, we don't cover that now. Like we used to cover that. Now we don't cover that. So
Right.
you're fucked now. A year ago, get a DeLorean, man. Like that's the best kind of insurance you can get.
But that's another thing that I always get in arguments with people about when they're arguing about health insurance is what I've actually went through.
Yeah.
Like
Right.
everyone that I meet argues about it from the point of I don't want to pay for someone else. And it's like you've never been put. I had all that insurance. I had money. Shit
Right.
happened, and I got put on the other side of that real quick, and had to deal with that.
Right.
And they don't know. It's so easy to be put on my side.
And it's not like if you have that insurance and then lose it, you can carry it over for 6 months of your unemployment or a year of your
You
unemployment.
can, but it's bullshit.
It's
half
yeah.
of your unemployment pay.
That may be different from state to state. I know
Yeah.
here in Connecticut, you're not allowed to carry it over into your
We have
unemployment.
Cobra
Yeah.
here,
Yeah.
which
But, but you have to pay for that, right?
Yeah.
You do, and it's
Yeah.
half of your. It's like half of what you would get of half of your pay.
Right.
So you're down to a quarter just to keep your health insurance.
Yeah. People that complain about like how shitty our healthcare system is, or people that don't complain, are the people that have never, like, they've always had health insurance and never had an issue paying for it.
Right.
It's like, you know, if you ever had a situation where you didn't have health insurance and you got sick, you would realize how important it would be for, like, as a human being, for the place you live to kind of take care of your health. Not even like, it's not even the healthcare in this country is preventative healthcare. It's all post, and it's like just enough to get you back to normal. It's like there's no preventative shit or anything like that. So it's like, you know, if it was a different situation where these people had ever had to experience not having health insurance and getting sick or injured or whatever, like then they would be singing a completely different tune. It's
Yeah.
same as so many different like social issues. It's like they just never they have the perception that it's just lazy people. Lazy
Right.
people fall. They're just not working. They need to find a job. They need to, like they need to make money. They need to do this. They need to do that. It's like maybe like people try. It depends on where you're living. It's like there's way more job opportunities in a bigger city or a state, like California or something like that, versus like if you're in the Midwest or something like that, and the only fucking job, one of the only jobs is a factory and it fucking closes down. It's like, well, what else is there? Like that
Right.
was the one job market in this area. That's,
Those
that's
same people would say you should move.
yeah. Oh,
And
like
they think
it's so
that
easy.
just to fucking
Yeah.
pick up and move to a different state where you don't know anyone.
Move
get
to a
place
state
to live and
where
find a job.
probably costs more to live. The cost of living is going to be more, but there is a potential for more jobs. It's like you're gambling your family's future on the potential for something when, maybe there's other factors that go into the situation that you're just too ignorant or too one-sided to even consider. But yeah, it annoys the fuck out of me that, there's people that talk down and belittle people that need. Like, I know so many people that have benefited from unemployment because so many fucking jobs have fired people. And it's like, a lot of them, I used to live with a dude and he got fired every time he used to sell electronics. Every time that electronics company went from commission to salary, he got let go because he made too much money. So Circuit City, then like CompUSA and Best Buy, like all these different companies, he just made too much money, so they couldn't afford to hire him. So they had to lay him off. And it's like he did too well, and now he doesn't get any money. He loses a job. And it's like he benefited from unemployment because he got fucked over. And there's people that get fucked over way more than that. But I know, it's like at least he had that, because if he got fired, then it's like he probably would have had to move home. I would have had to find a new roommate. Like it would have affected everybody's life involved with that. Just if there wasn't unemployment, And the same thing goes for like when people get sick, man. Getting sick in this country is a lose-lose in so many situations, even if you do have health insurance. Like, if you get really sick, you're still screwed to a certain I mean, it depends on how much money you have, but it's like, even if you have health insurance, doesn't mean everything's covered. Doesn't mean you can afford the copay or whatever the fucking, other fees that you have to pay are.
Well,
So-
I saw that with my family. My parents are divorced, and my mom was going to get remarried, but the guy that she was going to get married to got stomach cancer and actually had his stomach removed, and they stapled his esophagus to his intestines. Guy didn't
Holy
have
shit.
anything at all. But then the cancer ended up spreading to his pancreas, and once it gets to your pancreas, that's pretty much the end of it, especially after you've been through what you went through with stomach cancer.
Yeah.
But he was doing well, but the stress of having to deal with the healthcare system made him so depressed. It made him more depressed than having cancer did.
Yeah.
And my mom thinks to this day that that's one of the things that led to this man's death, was the fact that the systems that were in place weren't communicating well with each other. So the cancer doctors and the general practitioners, and then all the other systems and everybody talking to everybody else, all that paperwork, all of that shit was just ridiculous. Then the financial aspects of it, who had to pay for what, it didn't have to be paid for.
And they'll
then
double charge you.
they will triple charge you. He had to sell a vintage 69 Camaro. He had to sell his house. He had to go into early retirement and then use up all of those benefits to pay for cancer treatment. And he unfortunately ended up passing anyway. But to this day, if you ask my mother, she says, no, it wasn't the cancer that killed him. It eventually was. It was pneumonia that actually ended up killing him. But the stress from having to deal with the healthcare system made his life unbearable.
Yeah. Stress
Because all
in general.
all of his appointments, when he didn't have to go get cancer treatment or to go see a lawyer or go see another doctor, he didn't have a life other than cancer anymore or insurance companies.
It's like fighting for your legal right to stay alive.
Yeah.
It's like, what? Like, I want to be alive, but I have to jump. I have to do, like, it's like I'm at trial for murder. Like, these are the things that I have to do to try and stay alive. And it's like nothing that I've done. It's just like something happened to me, and now I have to jump. I have to, like, completely change my life. And that's one of the things, like, stress in general, like, causes so many diseases and health problems that we have in the world. Is a lot of that shit is caused by stress, and it's like So you want to try and cure people, but all you do is put them in stress. It's like you're giving them the one thing the last thing that they need to try and recover from whatever especially cancer, man. It's like if that's not a big enough fucking mindfuck to like just deal with that, let alone having to deal with the financial bullshit, kind of business aspect of cancer.
Yeah. Your body responds to stress the same exact way your body responds to an infection. Right? Your body reacts the same mechanisms. It's a function of your immune system. So when your immune system is compromised because you're sick, you can actually make yourself more sick by being stressed out and worried and depressed.
Yeah.
So it makes logical sense that you could literally be killed by paperwork just because of the heavy burden that it weighs on you of having to go through all of the red tape to make sure that your radiation is paid for.
Well, that's one of the things with Steve Jobs is like, he burned the candle at both ends trying to create what Apple and Pixar and like all these huge things that he did. Like that's his focus was on. It's even when he had cancer, it's like that he had the great diets, he had great medicine, but he fucking put himself in an extremely stressful situation, which that was for him was probably what he was used to. But for his body was like he was constantly taxing his body and what it can handle. So, the fact that ended up overcoming him despite how much money he had and how much, he put into his diet and all these different medicines and stuff like that, that clearly, it beat out whatever precautions he was taking, and it's like stress is the biggest killer, and it's the biggest cause of so many of the fucking problems. So many people go to pharmaceutical companies for Xanax and all these different drugs because they're stressed out and they need something that's going to help them not be stressed out. So the doctors and the pharmaceutical companies are like, we make a pill that can do that for you, not knowing the long-term side effects of what that pill may or may not do, and not knowing what it would just be like compared to somebody who's able to naturally alleviate their day-to-day stresses. So it's everybody's looking for the short answer, the shortcut, the get rich quick, the quick, fix, the easy thing to make everything better. And it's like most of things in life aren't easy. Nothing good in life is an easy thing. Sometimes easy things happen, but in general, a lot of work, a lot of time, and a lot of patience has to be put into anything because nothing changes. Your body doesn't all of a sudden. Like I was watching fucking Battlestar Galactica, and somebody gets cured like that from cancer. It's like, okay, like in a sci-fi show, that makes sense. In reality, like somebody doesn't just get injected with something and then have a seizure and then they're fine. It's like it takes time for the body to rebuild and recover from things. And when they're constantly over years beat down by the stress and the reality of life and the hardships of life and the fucking just shit people have to deal with, and the shit people have to deal with from other people and other businesses and just fucking money, it's like, how can anybody come through on the other end unscathed? It's like everybody gets beat down by this shit. What are we going to do, man? Stretch your back out on a bathroom stall.
Break your kneecap. I tell you what we got to do. We got to wrap this up.
Fuck it, dude. Let's go bowling.
Let's go bowling. Maybe Jesus is there. Nobody fucks with the Jesus. Nobody fucks with the Jesus. All right, guys. All right. Don, why don't you? Where can everybody find you? Where's your podcast? What's your Twitter? Everything.
Everything. Biggerpicturepodcast.com, the main website for the podcast itself, which is the Bigger Picture Podcast. On Twitter at Death Squad CT. Boom. Rate and review on iTunes.
Do it.
Us and you. Hugs, kisses, nice comments, 5 stars, all that good shit.
Belly rubs.
Belly rubs.
Keith Spurlock 1 on Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, InspiredDisorder.com, InspiredDisorderCollective.com, any of the others, Friendster.
Friendster, yeah. Find Friendster. Is Friendster still around? Like, is there still a Friendster website? I think I had one friend on Friendster. at Ray Taylor, inspireddisorder.com. Use coupon code INSPIRED at checkout. Save 10% on anything you buy there. I'm working on getting a bunch of new art prints, and I'm working on new artwork. Also, go to hashtagshows.com. Support stand-up comedy. Support hashtagshows.com. Go there if you enjoy comedy and want to see all the comics that Keith and I would recommend to you to watch and laugh at. Go to hashtagshows.com, see if they're playing in your area, at what time, at what comedy place, and do that. Also, go to inspireddisordercollective.com. Sign up. Check out all the other shows that are part of the Inspired Disorder Collective. There's a few more shows that I'm going to be adding here pretty soon. And also, I started setting up artist profiles. So if you are an artist, get in touch with me, and I'll set up a group page for you for your artwork and all that kind of stuff. Setting up art pages, and then there's the blogs and the music and all that other stuff. InspiredDisorderCollective.com. Go check it out. Do it. And also, I never talk about it on the show. Go check out my other podcast, Two Dudes, One Brain. We record Tuesdays, 7 p.m., same time as this one, 7 Pacific, 10 Eastern. It's me and Matt Thomas, used to be from Brothers from Different Mothers. We do an hour show. It's live just like this one, or you can check it out on iTunes. Soon Stitcher. I don't know what's up with Stitcher. I've submitted a bunch of times, and they haven't gotten back to me.
I've had the hardest time with Stitcher, man.
I don't know what's going on, man. I should probably email them and say, "What's up, bitches?" And that'll probably go through well with them. But yeah, check out everything. Go check out Bigger Picture Podcast, and check out the iFloat Radio that you produce
iFloat
as well.
Radio is the other podcast on iTunes. It's just interviews with the clients of iFloat Spa. They talk about their experiences in and out of the tank. It's really interesting. Check it out.
Badass, man. Badass. Also follow IDC_updates for all the podcast and the collective voice that comes out. And Death Squad CT tends to be on there a lot, as well as do I.
Yay, us.
We win. Okay, and check out Keith, because he's cool and stuff. And he had his face torn off, and he's still alive. So that's pretty cool, too. It'll send you his picture. All right. All right. People. PickBet. PickBet.net. Sign up if you're a UFC fan, want to play some UFC fantasy shit. PickBet.net. Sign up starting 8th of next month. And that's all I have to say. Peace out.
Suck it!
Yes, do that too.
I hope you enjoyed this episode of the Inspired Disorder Podcast. Embedded signals within this podcast have reprogrammed your natural thinking patterns. Side effects may include lack of inhibitions, erectile dysfunction, anal leakage, transcendental communication with beings from 4 of the 7 primary dimensions. In the event of a tear in space-time, please keep your hands down and feet together. Any loss of life or limbs due to interdimensional travel is not the responsibility of this podcast.